Hello and welcome to the channel. The Department of State Services (DSS) has responded to a court order directing the agency to either charge the suspended Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) Governor Godwin Emefiele to court or release him in a week's time. The Nigeria Secret Police, without going into too much details, said that is the case already, as the embattled former CBN chief has been charged to court on suspected criminal activities. Subscribe, like, share, and comment. Thank you. Emefiele has been charged to court, DSS. Barely 6 hours after a federal high court ordered the Department of State Services (DSS) to either arraign or release suspended Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele from its custody, the DSS said last night it has charged the top banker to court. The spokesman for the DSS, Dr. Peter Afunanya, who gave the information in a statement on Thursday night, did not, however, give the details of the charges levied against Emefiele or the court in which the case is pending. Afunanya said, sequel to an Abuja High Court order of today, 13 July 2023, the Department of State Services (DSS) hereby confirms that Mr. Godwin Emefiele has been charged to court in compliance with the order. The public may recall that the service had in 2022 applied for a court order to detain him in respect of a criminal investigation. Though he obtained a restraining order from an FCT High Court, the service, however, arrested him in June 2023 on the strength of suspected fresh criminal infractions and information, one of which forms the basis for his current prosecution. The service assures the public of professionalism, justice, and fairness in handling this matter, and indeed the discharge of its duties within the confines of the law, the DSS said. Recall that an Abuja High Court sitting at Maitama on Thursday ordered the Department of State Services (DSS) to within 7 days release the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Mr. Godwin Emefiele, from detention or charge him to court. The court, in a judgment that was delivered by Justice Hamza Muazu, held that Emefiele's continued detention without trial amounted to a gross violation of his fundamental human rights. Justice Muazu held that the Nigerian Constitution was founded on the rule of law, which he said presupposed that everything must be done according to the law. Detention, no matter how small, can amount to a breach of fundamental rights, the court held, adding that since allegations against the embattled suspended CBN governor contained bailable offenses, the DSS ought to grant him administrative bail pending his prosecution. Nevertheless, the court said that there was evidence before it to show that there was an order from an Abuja Chief Magistrate Court that permitted the security agency to detain Emefiele for a period of 14 days to enable it to conclude its investigations. It held that Emefiele did not establish that his arrest, detention, and investigation was unlawful since it was based on a valid court order. Describing the DSS as a reputable institution mandated to guarantee internal security of the country, Justice Muazu said it must conduct its operations with strict adherence to provisions of the Constitution. Though I am in sympathy with the applicant, Emefiele, but my sentiment will not go far to deliver judgment by granting all the reliefs sought by the applicant. The applicant has not shown that his arrest, detention, and investigation were unlawful. However, I am concerned that the application is not without merit. The applicant is entitled to fair hearing. At this point, the continued detention of the applicant cannot be justified in the absence of any charge against him. At the very least, justice demands that the applicant should be released on administrative bail. Consequently, I hereby make an order directing the respondent to within 1 week charge the applicant to court or release him on administrative bail, the court held. The judgment followed a fundamental rights enforcement suit that Emefiele filed through his team of lawyers led by former president of the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA), Mr. Joseph Daudu, son. Emefiele, who has been in detention since June 9, had in a suit marked FCT HC CV 645023 accused the DSS of violating his constitutional rights to liberty, freedom of movement, and fair hearing. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and please turn the notification bell on. Thank you. Recall also that the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN), Godwin Emefiele, has been taken into custody by Nigeria Secret Police, the State Security Service (SSS), hours after President Bola Tinubu suspended him from office. The Department of State Services (DSS) hereby confirms that Mr. Godwin Emefiele, the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, is now in its custody for some investigative reasons, Peter Afunanya, the spokesperson for the agency, said in a press statement he shared with Premium Times. Mr. Afunanya did not provide details of when and how Mr. Emefiele was arrested and where he is being kept. However, the banker was picked up from his home in Lagos and then flown to Abuja, guarded by a detachment of operatives. He was then driven to the SSS headquarters in the Asokoro district of the nation's capital when sources said he was being quizzed. There were speculations on Friday night that the SSS arrested Mr. Emefiele shortly after he was suspended, but the law enforcement agency tweeted Saturday morning saying the top banker was not in its custody. It is unclear why the SSS is holding the embattled official, but the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation said that his office, the CBN, was under investigation. The SSS and Mr. Emefiele have had a turbulent relationship recently. Last year, the agency accused the governor of a barrage of offenses. The SSS secretly requested a court order in December to arrest him on allegations of financing regime, fraudulent activities, and economic crimes of national security dimension. This request was, however, rejected by the Federal High Court in Abuja because the Secret Security Unit failed to present sufficient evidence to justify issuing an arrest warrant against Mr. Emefiele. That's the news, guys. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Bye.